Hello, and today we're going to explain to you about how to name various compounds. Naming group. First, compounds are separated as two categories, which are ionic and covalent compounds. You may not know what they mean, but we are going to explain it for you. Basically, an ionic compound is a compound that includes a metal and a nonmetal. An example is NaCl, which is sodium plus chlorine. In addition, it is an ionic compound because sodium is a metal and chlorine is a nonmetal. A covalent compound is a compound that is made of two or more nonmetals. For example, H2O is a covalent compound because both hydrogen and oxygen are nonmetal. For you to understand clearly, we have divided the PT table into two parts with a staircase. Left side of the staircase is metal, and right side of the staircase are nonmetal. However, the exception with hydrogen is that even though hydrogen is a nonmetal, it's located on the top left side of the table. Now we're going to teach you how to name the ionic compounds. When name ionic compounds, to make it easier, split the compounds into two elements that it's made of. For example, CaCl will be split into Ca and Cl, which are calcium and chlorine. For chlorine, we will need to replace the last three letters of the second element with the IDE suffix, which means chlorine will be chloride. In ionic compounds, you don't need to change the metal stain. You only have to add the suffix to the nonmetal. That means we name the metal to the left and name the nonmetal to the right. So the compound name of CaCl will be calcium chloride. The other example can be Mg2O2, which would be split into two magnesium and two oxygen. Because we need to name the IDE suffix to nonmetal, we will name oxygen to oxide. So as a result, Mg2O2's name is named as magnesium oxide. Lastly, for AlCl, it is named aluminum chloride because Al is aluminum, which is metal, and Cl is chlorine, which is modified to chloride because it's a nonmetal. Moving on to covalent compounds, which can be a bit more complicated. When naming covalent, you will need to keep in mind the charges that the elements have. For this example, we'll use CCl4. First, we'll use the first step when naming ionics. We'll split the elements. CCl will be split into carbon and chloride. Keep in mind that chlorine has 4 charges, so we would need to use one for Greek prefixes. Mono for 1 charge, D for 2, tri for 3, tetra for 4, so on as shown in the table. Also, keep in mind for the elements in front, all the prefixes apply to except for mono. So, using the ID suffix plus the Greek prefixes for the charge, CCl4 can be named as carbon tetrachloride. Another example can be C2O3, which is a compound that contains carbon and oxygen. The symbol can be shown that carbon has 2 charges and oxygen has 3 charges. So by using Greek prefixes, carbon will be modified to dicarbon. The oxygen will be modified as trioxide. Remember, we still change the suffix to second element into IDE. So C2O3 is named dicarbon trioxide. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Here's a quick review.